No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of idols. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of idols.
Hey, what's up everybody, it's Yamato Cannon, welcome back to Summoner's Rift. In this first clip today we have Sandbox Gaming, which is the team that I coach. I know Pykel has been very critical of my coaching abilities. I wasn't a great coach in Europe, so why would I be a good coach in Korea, you know? But, these players are much better than what I had in Europe. They were already a good team. Pykel said this before the season even started. Summit, very good player. I can't take credit for the talent of these players, but the pick ban phase, I think I've made some little bit of improvement. I know that I am not a good coach, but as time goes on, I think Pykel will continue to pick against us, which is completely reasonable. So I'll let him get back in here. But again, Pykel genius, Yamato Cannon not genius. Thank you.
Well, maybe he can't coach, but at least he's honest. In our next match, we have Genji taking on Dynamics. Kennen is looking for a flank, but is locked out by Leona's Solar Flare. Galio has to ult to try to protect his teammate, but it looks like Dynamics is gonna get murdered. Trundle gets kicked over the wall. Almost a great ult from Lee Sin, but he kinda missed because, Clid, he's pretty good, but he's not the best. Not the best. Kennen looks to get the reverse engage, dives into the backline, but is unable to shred the backline. Clid comes back in, gets 2 more kills, and BDD finishes off the game. Next up in China, we have BLG taking on OMG. Riding on Fofos and Batwings have BLG on even gold and pushed into the base. OMG has a man advantage and looks for the engage, but it falls flat. Wukong TPs in and tries to spin to win on the backline, but there's no follow-up for the engage as OMG begins to fall apart. Meteor and BLG continue their meteoric rise after the return of their jungler. In the final match of the day, Invictus Gaming is looking for a fight in the mid lane as the Shy is turning Mega. Kassadin is bot and he's a TP into the fray. Nautilus engages first, but it's Rookie who dies. The Shy is looking to turn the fight as Mega Gnar looking for a flash ultimate, hitting 3 players. The Shy successfully turns the tides, picking up 2 kills and securing an ace for Invictus Gaming, who wins 2-1.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Pykel with League of Items. How awesome was it that Yamato Cannon just decided to stop by and admit that he's no good and that the wins have nothing to do with him? I thought, it really takes a big man to kind of do that kind of thing. Really impressed by that. But yeah, I still don't like Sandbox. So let's take a look at the 2 Listener League contests that we had. So the first one was taken down by New Kid Mike, a constant fixture in the Twitch streams. He gave us a good nugget a few months ago when he said that he was like focusing his attention on statistics from specific patches. I think that was pretty sharp. But he had a stack of Invictus Gaming with Billy Gaming and Sandbox. So this is a 3-2-2. It's a 3-2-2. So Puff and Rookie, I think, were both good plays last night. I definitely liked E-Star a ton. BLG, I'm surprised they scored as much as they did. I expected OMG to win that match because of like the trends going in the opposite direction. I wanted to be on the OMG side early, but BLG managed to take that one down. It was a close series. I didn't take a look at how much OMG scored, like relative to what BLG scored, but I think all 3 games had a decent number of kills, which was pretty good. I think from an ownership perspective, that was a good place to go, but it was a little difficult to convince yourself that the match was going to be very highly scoring. Summit was my favorite one-off from Sandbox, and I did have a lineup similar to this one where I had a one-off with Summit, just to make sure that I had exposure to that. I played in a couple of qualifiers last night. I did not take any of those down. I was on KT, OMG, so a lot of my lineups were killed because of that. But yeah, so this is a good lineup. Puff as the captain. I think that it does make sense to play Puff as captain sometimes because Rookie isn't always going to score the most points for his team, even if he is the best player and will typically do so. Summit as a top laner, like I said, I like that as a one-off. Meteor for BLG scored 130 points. That's out of control. So let's look at that real quick. I didn't watch this game live. I didn't watch this match live. Like I said, basically, like I have to stay up so late that like I wait until all the games start, and then I like kind of go in and out of consciousness for the next like 3 hours, just like because it's tough to keep myself awake, and I also have to do stuff the next day, So schedule's a little insane, but that's not a problem. Or is it? Who knows? So this is today. Let's take a look at the scoreboards. Scoreboard? It's like surfboard, but scoreboard. Alright, so Meteor went 6-3-11 on Volibear, 5-3-11 on Volibear, and 5-1-14 on Trundle. So I'm guessing this game... I'm guessing this was the game that kind of went reverse. So 20-18, 18-17, and 14-23. So we got a ton of kills in that one. Very interesting. I think that Meteor was obviously going to be a huge upgrade in the jungle. I'm still skeptical, and I know that there's going to be a ton of hype on Billy Gaming, so I'll probably be betting against them and picking against them in the short term, just because I don't have any reason to think that they're one of the best teams in China. Then we have Rookie in the mid lane. I like Rookie. I think he's one of the best mid laners in China. Then we have Wings and Shinmo. Not sure how you say it. I think Wings is a pretty good player. Plays a lot of Ashe. Who did he play yesterday? Yeah, Ashe. So yeah, plays a lot of Ashe. And I think we knew that coming into the season. I think I think we looked at his champion pool in the like preview video when we were ranking all the teams, and I'm pretty sure I knew that he played a lot of Ashe. Last up, he had Sandbox. So Sandbox was a pretty good team spot. And it's like I said, KT Rolster coming off their victory over DRX, I thought it could be a trap spot. I was calling it a trap spot. Some people were asking me, what do I mean by trap spot? That's what I mean by trap spot. And we talked through that on the stream last night. I try to stream every day between 10 to 11 o'clock, and then it goes on for a couple of hours. I play some League of Legends with viewers. We play ARAMs. We play ranked games sometimes. So if you want to hang out with us, come check out the stream, twitch.tv/The League of Items. So we had so many people join the league yesterday that White Horse PK made a second contest. Moving forward, I'm gonna make it so that I'm the only person who can make contests. I just want to make sure that there's no funny business going on. So I actually managed to win this one with a lineup that I made that I guess would have been very good in like a lot of the contests. So actually, let me check that. I wonder what took down first place in this thing. This is probably not a good idea. I'm just going to tilt myself. 775 was first. Okay, so I wouldn't have even come close. This lineup would have won some qualifiers, though. So Billy Gaming, we had a four-player stack from that, and then I had the Shy and Puff. I love the Shy. I'm never going to stop playing the Shy. He had a Gnar game tonight. I love playing Gnar. I play Gnar because of the Shy when he played it in that other game. So I had a 4-stack, Wings, Meteor, Fofo, and Jinmo. And then I had the Shy and Puff. And then I had KT Rolster team. I still did think that KT Rolster was going to win because I wasn't convinced that it was a trap game. I'm pretty skeptical of Sandbox. And I will continue to be skeptical of Sandbox. It's just inevitable. Like I just can't help how I feel about the team. If something changes, I'm sure you'll hear me say it in a video or on a stream or whatever. So let's take a look at the upcoming matches. So I will not be playing the 2-game LCS slate. If I don't have to play the 2-game slates, I don't do it. That's just a personal choice. The only reason I would is if this Rift qualifier was interesting. But basically, you're only allowed to qualify 3 times. So I'm going to try to qualify all 3 times. but I'll probably do it on larger slates so that it's a little easier to be unique. But let's see who's playing tonight. If I have a really good feeling about one of these teams, then maybe I'll change my mind. So we have Immortals against Dignitas. Immortals is slightly favored over Dignitas. That's not surprising. They're not a great team by any stretch of the imagination. But Dignitas has looked pretty bad. So Immortals is minus 220. That's got to be right around 60%. I do prefer the Immortals roster. If you look at the ranking video I did the other day, I prefer Xmithy, Apollo, and Hakuho in these matchups specifically to win the game tomorrow. Like long term, I think that Dignitas probably has better young pieces, but specifically Johnson. But yeah, I think that this match not very interesting for a 2-game slate, so I don't mind giving out my pick. I think Immortals takes it down. Dignitas does have chances to win. They're both pretty bad teams, and that would be a good contrarian spot. I don't think there's any real value on Dignitas. If I wanted to make this bet in real life, it would have to be kind of around 180, 185 at the least. Otherwise, I don't feel like I'm getting value. Then we have FlyQuest against 100 Thieves. FlyQuest, gigantic favorite. We can do that one lane by lane. So, FlyQuest, I think someday is just better than Solo. Contract and Santorin, I think Santorin's a better player. Power of Evil and Ryoma, Power of Evil is a better player. Mash or Wild Turtle, I don't care who's starting. They're even with Cody-san. There's no advantage there. Ignar against Poom, I think Ignar is the better player. So if 100 Thieves is able to win this match, I think it's because of Someday and because of the bot lane being able to create advantages around some of these dragon fights. From a DraftKings perspective, I think that FlyQuest is probably the most interesting team because 100 Thieves does have some matches recently where they give up a ton of points. So that's probably the first team that I would look at, and then maybe you would have to get Dignitas in there. So if you have Dignitas with FlyQuest, maybe that is unique. But on a 2-game slate, it's tough. So like, I would have to go into that qualifier. It's a 14-team qualifier. I'd probably have a primary stack of FlyQuest and a secondary stack of Dignitas, and I'd have to rotate to figure out which one I think has the best chance of being unique. I'd probably go with Power of Evil as my captain because Power of Evil is the best player in that match. I'd probably want to get Power of Evil, Santorin, and then I'd probably want to get the bot lane anyways. I don't know who's starting tonight though. Dignitas. I think Lorlo's starting. Maybe even go jungle captain. Maybe that's something you could do. Try to get Santorin as your captain. Because that allows you to get Dardoch. And if Dignitas wins, I could see him being the highest scoring player on their team. I'm not playing Afromu, most likely. He is the kind of player who will do whatever it takes to win. And sometimes that means dying more than you get like assists and kills. So that always scares me. So we're done with the LCS. Let's take a look at the LPL and LCK. So first up, we have DRX and Damwon Gaming. What an incredible match! This is gonna be a ton of fun to watch. I'm definitely staying up to watch this whole thing. We have Doran against Nagri. Nagri is the better player. Piosik against Canyon. I think Piosik is the better player, but Canyon has been playing really well recently. He has a lot of good DraftKings performances. So he has a 97, 84, 87.8, 95.6. I'm not convinced that Canyon is a good real-life player relative to the other junglers that are in at the top of the LCK, but Canyon's basically doing everything that you can to justify ranking him higher, you know. So maybe I will change my opinion on him eventually, and think of him as like a difference maker. But it's just tough for me to think that right now. He is a young jungler. Yeah, you know, it's just I'm just not sure. Not sure about Canyon. Just not sure. In the mid lane, we have Chovy against Showmaker. This is 50-50. They're two of the best mid laners in the world. Deft against Ghost. I prefer Deft as a player. I think that Ghost and Beryl have a very interesting champion pool. The bot lanes in this matchup are very interesting. I love both of them for very different reasons. Keria can be a carry support on traditional support, not traditional, on some traditional support champions, hook champions like Pyke as well. Damwon Gaming is more likely to go the Senna route. So I do think that DRX will just eliminate Senna from the champion pool because that is a big edge. Well, not a big edge. It's what Damwon Gaming does best. So I would expect that to not be an option. If we look at the money line, it's a 50-50. I don't think it should be a 50-50. I think that DRX should be favored. It should probably be like minus 140 for DRX against Damwon. So technically there's a little bit of value on DRX, but I'm not going to make a bet on that small of an edge. Especially when I want Damwon Gaming to win. I love watching Damwon Gaming. The game is more exciting when Damwon is winning. From a DraftKings perspective, I could see this game going under. When you get two teams in Korea who are very good playing against one another, they're not going to embarrass themselves. They're not normally going to embarrass themselves. They will look for a point in the game. If they're losing, they will look for a point in the game where they think they can contest a 5v5. Since Damwon Gaming is probably more likely to play an early game composition. Like with Senna and everything like that, you can kind of spike really hard around level 6, especially if you get Pantheon. So if Senna is banned away, it'll be interesting to see how they pivot away from that. I'm not sure who is blue side and red side. Let's see if I can... Because I don't trust the websites with what side they're on. So if Damwon Gaming is red side, 2 games or 3 games, I think that does increase their chances of winning because Showmaker is the kind of player who has a gigantic champion pool, can play anything in the mid lane, and can counterpick in the mid lane. This means that Kassadin is a live option every single match. So when DRX is picking their champions, they need to make sure they're not only blind picking a champion that fits with their team composition, does well against the other composition, but is also not countered by Kassadin. So that's a lot of there's a lot that's going to have to be taken into consideration when they're preparing their pick ban. For Damwon, it also means that if they decide to do something like give up Aphelios, then they'd have to they would like be able to pick Senna Pantheon or Senna Set, one of these good combinations in the bot lane. I also think that it's probably more likely that Damwon Gaming bans Ezreal than Aphelios because Deft on Ezreal is just ridiculous. So we could see Senna and Ezreal being banned out and then getting some like Varus Aphelios matches. That'd be pretty cool. But it'd be even cooler if all of those champions were banned and we were forced to see something unique. The other thing I'm afraid of with DRX is that they might play something like Ziggs in the bot lane because every once in a while Deft just gets thrown onto Ziggs duty, which is kind of horrible in my opinion. Not horrible. It's just not good late game. Let's go to the next match. Let's go to the second Korean match. So this one we're not going to have the roster information before the game starts. Afrika Freaks versus Seoul Haewon Prince. Seoul Haewon Prince is the kind of team you want to get players against because they have high kill score games. When you're building your lineups tonight, you won't necessarily know who Afrika Freaks is playing, but it's most likely going to be Keen, Spirit, Fly, Mystic, and Ben. Seoul Haewon Prince is a little bit more of a question mark. I assume Mickey's going to play. I think it would be Ixu, Flawless, Mickey, Hybrid, and Secret. But again, I'm not sure about them. They're the larger sub-risk at this point tonight. So in the top lane, Keen is a better player than Ixu. I do appreciate what Seoul Haewon Prince did against... I do appreciate what they tried to do in their last match against T1. They were playing things like Ashe Zyra in the bot lane. They were playing Illaoi, which is Ixu's best champion, I think, at least according to the casters. And what that tells me is they kind of understand they're not as good as some of these teams, and when that's the case, I do think it makes sense to kind of throw some curveballs at the other team, saying like, how are you going to respond to Illaoi? How are you going to respond to Ashe Zyra? I don't think they executed the compositions the right way. But I do give them credit for trying different compositions. I'm a Zyra player. I love playing Zyra support, and mid lane and jungle. But support, it's very good because you can continuously shove in the bot lane. The one point of criticism a lot of analysts and coaches like McScrags have is that he feels like it's too dangerous, because if you get hooked as the Zyra by Nautilus, I think, which was the support in that game, then you're like in a really bad spot. But you shouldn't be getting hooked. And the other thing is that if you're using your plants correctly, you can stop a hook with a plant. So I never really minded those matchups. They are volatile, but that's part of what makes Zyra so good, is that she can survive in these volatile game environments and then still create an advantage for her team around the objectives. So yeah, Keen is better than Ixu. Spirit and Flawless. I think Spirit is better, but not by much. Fly against Mickey, I think that they're pretty even. Mickey is a more volatile player. His ceiling is very high, but he does look bad sometimes. Maybe we get another Mickey of the Night performance, who knows. Mystic against Hybrid. I do think Hybrid and Trigger go back and forth. Trigger has some like ridiculously long hair. It's kind of funny to look at. He looks like that DJ. I forget what his name is. But he like takes cakes and throw it at people. Kind of looks like that. Then we have Ben in Secret. Not excited by either of those players. So if you're gonna play a Freak of Freaks tonight, it's because they're playing against Sol Hyeon Prince. But the other matches are pretty nice. So Dominus and Rogue Warriors. Ooh, oh baby, that's a fantasy match if I ever seen one. This is going to go. I would think it goes under owned. These matches are great for DraftKings. There's going to be a ton of options for lineup building tonight. This should be very exciting. Two good teams playing. I'm concerned with the upside. Two bad teams playing. It's going to be like a bloodbath. They're just going to try to kill each other until the other one leaves the game. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Chalizzy against Holder. Pretty close. Not a huge advantage either way. I think Chalizzy has been playing a lot of Volibear. Holder is the better player, I think, though. Xiaopeng against Haro. I think Haro's the better player. I'm a big Haro fan. Twyla against Ruby or Wooming. I don't know if there's a gigantic difference there, but I kind of feel like Rogue Warriors has the advantage there as well. Shubin against Wuji. Again, I think Wuji is just a better player. And then Lei against Yui. I'm not sure who's starting here for the supports. Let's see what the odds are. Dominus is minus 137. Rogue Warriors is plus 106. So I'm guessing this is the... That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, Top Esports against FPX. So Top Esports, widely considered the best team in the world currently. Let's go lane by lane. Khan against 369. Both very good players. I think that Khan is most likely better than 369. This will be very interesting from a champion pool perspective. I think Khan is more flexible with the champions that he's able to play at a pro level. And for that reason, I think there might be a slight edge to Khan. But he's also the player that's more likely to get a bad matchup. Like if he blind picks something that shouldn't necessarily be picked blind, and then 369 punishes it with some kind of like boring vanilla pick. Karsa against Tian. I think they're both very good junglers. Karsa is probably considered better by most people, but I think they're probably just even. They're both good Lee Sin players. Knight against Duanbi. Everyone thinks everyone thinks Knight is the best player in the world. That might be true. It might not be true. If it's not true, one of the other best players in the world is Duanbi. So this is a very good matchup. It'll be interesting to see how Duanbi limits Knight's upside for like kills. I think that FPX is going to go into this match trying to slow the game down, play a macro game, and probably do some split pushing. And for that reason, I think Top Esports' upside is going to be lower than it has been in other matches. FPX lost their most recent match. I think a lot of people are going to have a tough time rostering FPX. That's kind of when I want to play FPX. So I will have exposure to top Esports because I'm not a psychopath. I am a psychopath, but I'm not a psychopath. Yeah, I'll have exposure to both sides in this, but not as much as the field. I think that this is a potential good spot to fade because I think FPX limits the upside of Top Esports and has a realistic chance of winning the match. So that is minus 250 and plus 190. Oh my god, that's a real life bet. That's a real life bet. You got to take FPX tonight for a real life bet, I think. Don't go crazy. I know some of you out there listen to me every single time I say make a bet, and we have done really well. I love getting the screenshots, but you know who you are. Relax. Dude, I probably wouldn't do a full unit on this one, maybe a half unit. I think a half unit is a good size bet. You're getting 2-1 basically. Take your money and run. Just don't go crazy. I just think it's a good spot. If anybody's going to beat Top Esports, it might as well be FPX. Jackie Love against LWX. Jackie Love is the better player for DraftKings and for real life. And then we have Yu Yanjia and Crisp. Both good players. Yu Yanjia has been a great fit with this roster. Not much to say there. But like I said, very interesting matchup. I'm going to have to mess up my sleep schedule real bad tonight because I want to watch all these games. Last up, a Freak of Freaks and Solhewan Prince, which we already did. Never mind. So those are the matches for tomorrow. This is happening today. This is happening tomorrow. So I guess I should give the North American breakdowns and the Brazilian stuff right now too. So I'm not going to give out my picks, but I will kind of explain where I think some of the advantages might be for these teams and the trends that I'm kind of thinking of when I'm picking these matches. So C9 against TSM. C9, best team in North America, maybe a top 10 team in the world. It's questionable, but they're roughly in the top 10. If they lose, TSM is one of the teams that can beat them. Liquorice against Broken Blade. Liquorice is a better player, but not significantly better. I think that Broken Blade also has a very like carry oriented style. That means he has the kinds of picks that can punish Liquorice if they blind pick a top laner early. In the jungle, we have Blabber against Spica. McScraggs told me that when he first met Blabber and Spica, he thought Spica was going to be the better professional. They were both in the scouting grounds, and obviously he thought they were both going to be professionals and be good players, but he kind of preferred Spica. I think Spica was more polished at that point, but Blabber kind of, not lucked out, but Blabber has really leaned into his play style, and that's given him the advantage early on in his career. Niski against Bjergsen, I think it's even. I don't think that Niski is better than Bjergsen at all. It's just a stylistic thing. He's a little flashier. But Bjergsen, in those late game team fights, if he's playing a control mage, can really dictate how the fight goes. I think that from a DraftKings perspective, this match could go under. The range of outcomes in this game for DraftKings is out of control. You're going to want to get exposure to this. I could see this being a potential game stack spot because there are always games between Cloud9 and TSM where you just have these memories of both teams having 5 players in mid lane around the 3rd dragon, the 4th dragon, Baron, and there's just continuous gigantic team fights in the mid lane where 3 or 4 players die from each side and they can't take one of the objectives. So definitely an interesting spot. Sven against Double Lift. I think they're roughly even, but Sven is a little bit better than Double Lift at this point, I believe. Vulcan against Biofrost. Vulcan is the better player. But like I said, TSM I think is a live dog. At plus 285, I would be interested in betting on TSM just to bet against the perfect season for C9. It's not that I want C9 to lose. It's just I don't think it's likely that teams will go undefeated continuously, and this is one of the only teams in North America that I think has a good chance to beat them. Golden Guardians against Evil Geniuses. So we have Haunter against Kumo. That's basically even. Closer against... Is it Closer or Closer? I don't know which one it is. Doesn't really matter. They both make sense. But against Svenskeren, I think Svenskeren is still the better player. Closer is thought of very highly by everyone because he's a newer player. But I still think Svenskeren is better than him. Or at least the worst case scenario is that it's even. The worst case scenario is that everybody's right about Closer, and he is one of the best junglers in North America. In the mid lane, we have Jizuke against Damonte. I prefer Jizuke. I think they have very similar play styles. This could be a game where we get 2 teams trying to split push against each other, which is going to